Hello everyone, it's Robert Farrer from Robert Farrer's Tea and Tarot here, and today I'm going to be giving you a flip through and a light review of Robin Ator's International Icon Tarot. Here it is. Quite a plain box, very restrained and rather serious looking. But the tarot itself is not restrained and serious, it's very jolly. The maker here says, its simplicity will appeal to beginners and captivate both collectors and experienced tarot users. Without sacrificing symbolic depth, these engaging images provide for a greater degree of ethnic, cultural, and gender inclusiveness, which I think is a really good point. So we're going to have a look at this deck. Robin Ator has decided to convert the Rider-Waite-Smith images into icons, and you know what he means by icons. When you go to the airport, you might see a sign for where the toilet is. And this will just be an icon, an iconic graphic depiction of a man and a woman, someone wearing a dress, someone wearing trousers, and these will be comprehensible to anyone in the world, no matter what language they speak. And then there'll be an icon of a bus and an icon of a taxi. Now, this deck is quite funny. I'll start my flip through. I've sorted the deck out into... It's partly sorted. I've got Major Arcana and then the four suits, but it's not completely sorted because I couldn't be bothered. The deck is quite funny in a sense because, you know, every time he has a person, then as you can see, one of the rules of icons is that the head is just a circle, isn't it? And there are no hands and there are no feet here. So, you know, it's quite jolly. I find it quite humorous, even though it's also graphically very chic. There are quite a lot of tarot decks that want to go back to the sort of the mid-century modernist look, because we all like that, don't we? We like that kind of furniture. And some of these mid-century style decks can be a bit fussy and over-designed. But the thing about this deck is it's very simplified because that's the brief, isn't it? The brief is to reduce it all. So there's nothing fussy here. Everything's very clear. And yes, you know, it is inclusive. The figures are sexless up to a point. Sometimes it's important for him to specify that people are female, for example, and that they might be male. Here's a male-female couple, but, you know, here's clearly a sexless angel at the top. I find the colours ravishing. He hasn't, you know, stuck to Pamela Colman Smith's colours. And I've often thought that it would be nice to have versions of the Rider-Waite-Smith that really get away from the original colours a bit, just to wake one up. I'm not against Pamela's colours, but sometimes one does want to look at a different colour palette. By the way, in that Major Arcana, there was a deliberate, or maybe deliberate, design mistake from the designer, which I'll tell you about later if you didn't notice it. So here, let's go on to the swords. Sorry they're out of order, ladies and gentlemen, but, you know, I'm making this in between Christmas and New Year and I'm feeling a bit lazy. Now, I've had this deck for a few months now and I haven't really got into reading with it. That doesn't mean I'm not going to. But at the moment, I haven't found the time and the place for it, you know, the occasion which calls for this deck. And that can take a while, can't it, with decks? I had the Morgan Greer for a while before I got into it, before I really started reading with it. You can have a deck for years and not read with it. And then suddenly it comes into its own. I actually find that clients are a bit wary of this deck. They don't quite know what to make of it. Oh, there's Justice in the wrong pile. I thought it was Swords, you see. And I do have a question about this, an overarching question, which is this. Can you turn a symbol into an icon? Because that is clearly, well, can you? Clearly he's done that. Should you turn a symbol into an icon? An icon seems to be a graphic representation of something which is very unambiguous. A toilet, or a taxi, or an aeroplane. Now, tarot cards are not unambiguous, are they? I think they're many things, but they're not unambiguous. Especially the major arcana. What does the moon symbolize? What is its value as a symbol? We know it's the moon, but what does it symbolize? And so on and so forth. So I think there might be a kind of like an artistic tension just inherent in this deck. The decision to turn these symbols into icons. And whether an iconic deck is actually what one wants. But this style is to my taste. I would much rather look at this than look at one of those decks where, you know, there's loads and loads of detail and it might have been done in watercolor or something, and everything's, you know, cloudy and, you know, it looks like something from the Hubble telescope, and there's an exploding galaxy, or there are pixies, you know, galloping through the woods on unicorns. I'd much rather have this, and I think the colours are very fabulous. So I think it's really a matter of taste. You know, do you want things to be very graphic and neat when you read the tarot? For example, that's great, isn't it? That reminds me of the Tricolor tarot by an artist called Kelsey Showalter, where you see how the artist has reduced things to shapes, and that's very nice. But do we want to look at shapes, or do we want to look at something a bit more suggestive? I don't know the answer. When we get to the end of this flip through, there's going to be an exciting moment, a moment where I'm going to go back and show you the deliberate mistake that the artist made. But no, I basically want to say I think this is a terrific deck, and if I've expressed any doubts about it, that's because I'm a reviewer and I'd like to send the artist huge congratulations. I think it's one of the most stunning decks around. But it is in my nature to ponder these deeper significances, isn't it? A very nice King of Pentacles there. Where is the deliberate mistake? It's there, ladies and gentlemen. Look. All the cards, if you look at the writing on all the cards, it is in a certain font. Your Hierophant, Devil, you see the font on all the cards in the whole pack. That's the pack's font. Not for the lovers, ladies and gentlemen. The artist has put a different font down there. So huge congratulations to the artist on that deliberate mistake there. There's one other carping point I want to make here. I'm not even sure if it's a criticism, because it's to do with the fact that this is a very beautifully made indie deck. Do you see when I stack the cards up like that? they are uneven. They don't have that perfectly even cut thing, which actually most tarot decks have. And I don't really know why that came about in the production of this pack. I have made my own, tarot cards down at the photocopier shop, and I've cut them out with the guillotine and I've put the rounded corners on, and they come out a bit like this. They're not the same. And this bothers me because I'm very anal and very, what am I? Obsessive. And when I cut, I want to feel that all the cards are the same height. Because if they're not, then the cards that are smaller, shorter, will tend to fall down. My finger will tend to alight on one of the higher, bigger cards. So, maybe half the cards in the deck will tend to be the first card of a reading, and the other half of the cards will tend not to be the first card of reading, and that makes me feel that my readings are not random. So that doesn't mean I wouldn't work with this deck. It means that I would, maybe cut sideways or just cut in a jolly chaotic way. But I would be always conscious of that. And as your friendly tarot reviewer, I wanted to point that out. So the International Icon Tarot, really highly recommended. One of the prettiest, most stylish tarot packs you can possibly get your hands on. Buy a pack right now. It may not always be available. The other Robin Ator deck, the Ator Tarot, seems to be quite hard to get hold of, and I haven't managed yet. So yes, rush out to your nearest online store and hoover up a copy. That was Robert Farah at Robert Farah's Tea and Tarot, telling you about the International Icon Tarot. Bye.